Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another Mixed Media Mayhem. Today we are scrap lifting a layout from our own Rebecca Moore, and it's a layout that she did for Hip Kit Club. Oh my goodness. And so I decided to go ahead and start with some white paper just like she did. It's a little bit hard to tell in the photograph, but the layout is kind of tilted to the side. The letters on the right hand side are just in the background. And then she's got some large stars. She's got 3 little photos. I'm using 2 larger photos, so my paper that is backing the photos is definitely going to be wider, and I am roughing it up with my little edge distressor just to give some added texture. I'm using some blue paper from the Cocoa Vanilla No Limits collection. I'm also going to pull in a little bit of stuff from, let's see here, I think I'm going to use some stuff from the Simple Stories Lakeside. So basically everything that I'm using today are leftovers from the Kit Conspiracy kits that we started with. And I really like the way that they kind of pair together. Although I didn't use a ton of Lakeside stuff, all the little bits that I do use really add to the layout. So sometimes when you're using a kit and you are almost done with it, you should definitely pair it up with some of your other products, because there are a lot of ways you can use the products even outside of their own themed purpose. So I'm starting with these open stars. These were in the die cut pack from No Limits from Cocoa Vanilla. And I'm going to back them with this paper from the Simple Stories Lakeside collection to get that lighter blue, which the No Limits collection has a bit of that color in it as well. And so I really like that. The two have a lot that can work well together in between them. So I'm just backing those. I'm not going to add a whole bunch of, I'm not stamping on the paper or anything like that. I'm just going straight with that lighter blue color. And I like it also because on both of the photos, actually, you can see there's like some arrows that are pointing the direction that the ride goes in, and they are teal. So I'm trying to bring in teal in varying shades. So I've got this paper is would be a very light version of teal. It's a little bit more blue than teal would be, but close enough. And then I'm going to bring in some additional pieces that are more saturated colors, or more saturated, so that they bring in more of that teal. And it's just going to be little bits of that. So I like the way that that is looking. I decided to put the larger star at the bottom. The reason for that is because there is actually more space in the photo to cover. There's a big section of concrete there that doesn't need anything on it. The upper photo just had a little tiny bit of sky showing, and I covered that up. Now in her original layout, she tucks the pinwheels, or whatever you call those things. They're not pinwheels. She tucks them under the photos, and I'm not tucking mine under. I'm just leaving them on top. I do tuck that chipboard piece that says "To the Moon and Back" underneath, as well as this little journaling circle. That's all tucked under, and I like the way that that is looking. And then I'm going to add some labels and some more chipboard. I'm going to actually end up putting my entire this entire thing up onto foam. And the reason for that is because when I tuck the chipboard underneath this piece that I'm currently working on gluing down, it lifts that corner up, and so I want to make everything the same level. So I'm going to put some foam under there to give it a bit of support and make it the same level as the chipboard piece. Now that other chipboard piece that says "Adventure" on it in the upper left corner, it does it is on top of the photos, so that's going to get some foam under it as well. Now these little circular pieces that have arrows, those are from the Lakeside collection, as well as the little, I don't know what these pieces are called, these little paint chip looking things, ticket things, and I'm tucking them under because the words don't apply at all, but the color does. So You know, you can always use those little bits just for their color. Now I'm outlining my entire piece. Well, I'm not really outlining it. I'm kind of making my mark a bit underneath so that when I lay this all back down, it doesn't show, but it's going to give me a general area for where my mixed media is going to go. So I pulled out both Faded Jeans and Chipped Sapphire in oxide ink. I am going to use the Faded Jeans. I don't end up using the Chipped Sapphire. I start with Faded Jeans because it's lighter, and I quickly decide that it is dark enough for my purposes, so that is why I chose not to use Chipped Sapphire. It would have been fine as well, but this one was dark enough and I didn't really see the need to add any additional. And she's got like this kind of teal turquoise haze all the way around hers, so I'm going with a blue haze around it. I'm going to have mine extend a little further out. She's got some stars that she has added. I'm not sure how she added those, if they're actually paper or if they are some sort of mixed media. I can't actually see it on my little screen here, but I'm going to add mine by using some mixed media. I am just using my blending brush to go ahead and add this ink, and what I'm doing is I'm starting with my blending brush underneath where I know my photo is going to cover, because I don't want any harsh lines from the blending brush picking up the ink, and then when you first put it down, a lot of times it'll leave a harsher line because it's really wet, and I don't want to see that. So that is why I go ahead and start underneath where the photo is. Now it looks like some of her stars are actually paper. Actually, it looks like most of them are paper, but like I said, mine are going to be some mixed media. I'm going to pull out a stencil from Paige Evans, and I think it's called Shooting Stars or something to that effect. And I will put links down below, or the names of the products if I can't find links, in case they are something that you are interested in purchasing. And I finally remembered those things are called rosettes that she's got on there. So I don't know why I couldn't think of that before. So I'm trying to make my haze a little bit further out than hers, because the technique that I'm going to use a sponge, add a little bit of water to it, and then I'm going to put my stencil down and then rub my water, I don't want to say water soaked sponge, but my damp sponge over it, and it definitely leaves the imprint of the stars there, as you can see. Now over the white area, I am using my brush just to lightly go over it and add a little bit more of a darker image of the stars than what the water just adds. But I like that the water picked up some of the pigment of the blue in the blue areas. So pretty happy with the way that turns out. And it's not very hard to do. You just need to be sure not to get your sponge like super wet, because if you get it super wet, the water squishes underneath your stencil and then you just end up with a blob. If you're going for a blob, that works, but if you're trying to actually get the image of a star or some other pattern, you need it damp, not wet. So I'm liking how that looks. Just trying to realign my paper over my pencil marks. And then I found this sticker in the Simple Vintage Lakeside that says, "This is our favorite place." And I decided to go ahead and use that. I don't know that this is really our favorite place, but for this summer, we had, these are some of my Girl Scouts. We had season passes to the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. So for that summer, it really was one of our favorite places to go because it was free. You just had to pay parking if you parked in a paid parking spot, and then you had to pay for your food. But we had the season passes, and then it would just take, the fuel to get over there and the parking, which oftentimes you can find inexpensive. You could at the time find inexpensive parking. I don't know what it's like currently, but it worked for us. I am inking up my stars here with some Black Soot Distress ink. I did go around some of the other pieces that are tucked in there with some Black Soot Distress ink also. I have not put any re-inker on my black ink pad yet, so it's still very dry and it just kind of leaves a grayish edge on all of the pieces. I am using a white 0.6 Arteza gel pen to go around my dark blue paper here with 2 sketchy lines. And I like how that looks. It just gives a nice little finishing touch and an outline to that. And then I'm going to go around the entire layout with a navy blue Muji pen, and I'm going to do 2 sketchy lines all the way around the entire layout. Now here I decided I was going to go ahead and put glue down, and then I remembered, I need to add some foam. So I pull out a couple pieces of foam. I'm just adding it sticky side to the piece that I'm going to adhere down, and then I will add glue, liquid glue, to all of these pieces, and then stick it onto the background layout. The circle that is at the bottom of the screen right now, that is the one that is actually adding the dimension to the layout, so I don't need to add anything to that. The rest of it I do need to pop up onto some foam so that it becomes the same level as that chipboard piece. I'm just making sure I've got it lined up right where those pencil marks are, and then I'm going to add some glue to my additional stars here and call it a day. Oh, actually I'm going to do my sketchy lines all the way around the outside before I call it a day. While I do that, I just want to remind you there are a bunch of people playing along with Mixed Media Mayhem. It is a series we do every Friday. The first 3 Fridays, or the last Friday of the month, we invite everyone to participate. The rest of the month there is a small select group of us that work on our Mixed Media Mayhem pieces to bring to you guys. And then the last Friday of the month we invite everyone to play along, and you can do so by joining the Facebook group for Mixed Media Mayhem, and that inspiration piece will be posted in the Facebook group earlier in the month so that you have plenty of time to prepare your layout. Lastly, I am going to add some vibrant turquoise Dilutions shimmer spray. I'm just going to sprinkle that around each one of the embellishment areas just to add a little bit of sparkle and bring in more of that kind of teal color, that darker green look. And then I am also going to add a few sequins to each one of the 2 embellishment areas. So I've got a diagonal design going on here. It's not exactly like Rebecca's, but it's my interpretation of her layout, and I'm happy with it. So that's what matters, right? It goes in my book. So that is how it works. If you're going to do a lift, you do it the way that you want to do it, and a lot of times we use these as jumping off points as well. So I'm just adding 3 of these little turquoise sequins to each one of the embellishment areas, and then I am going to call it a day and be done. You can go ahead and leave any questions that you have down below, and I will get back to you as quickly as I can. I thank you so much for your time today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to check out other people who are playing along. If you did enjoy this video, I would love it if you'd give it a thumbs up down below. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to take the time to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications if you would like to be notified every time I leave or post a new layout. Thanks so much again for watching, you guys. I don't know what's going on with my words, but I will see you guys soon.